Well, welcome back to, what is it now? Episode 4 of the Uncut reviews of Wandavision. We really
This
need
guy
to
and his
remember,
intros, man.
honestly, they're not great, but,
Every time. Some weird shit. Fair play.
just let me deal
Fair
with
play.
it, bro. You gave me the right to intro. It was your own fault. But yeah. So welcome back to, it's episode 4 of WandaVision, I think, because I don't really check. I just watched the episode. I'm pretty sure it's episode 4, though.
Episode 4 now.
It was a different episode. I can't lie, but I kind of liked it. It answered all of the questions. Well, not all, but I'd say 90% of the questions that the first 3 episodes had brought up. And for once, I actually left the episode with less questions.
Let me put it this way: I didn't dislike it, but I didn't necessarily like it as much. Like the whole time, do you know what it is? I was watching the episode, and the whole time I was like waiting for something to happen, and then nothing ever really did happen. The ending, right at the end, something is said that we'll get into, which it didn't really hit hard for me. But again, we'll discuss that in a minute. But what did you like? What did you like from the episode?
This is going to sound really weird because it's called WandaVision, but I liked the fact that we literally only see new footage of Wanda and Vision for like the last 2 minutes of the episode.
Oh, I didn't, man. I wanted to see more of them.
I was thinking,
really what am I watching this for?
Oh no, that's the reason I liked it is because like we needed to know what was happening outside of Wanda's little world, which, by the way, if you've watched this episode, spoilers, I will just go straight to it. It has now been confirmed that Wanda is doing everything. Like, she is doing that entire
we're just
thing.
going into that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I mean, we kind of already said it. We kind of already said it. We just got confirmation this episode.
Yeah, we hinted.
Yeah.
We did.
So that's definitely...
At the end, we see, so if you watch episode 3, you know that Geraldine gets, like, booted out of the world. And you're like, what the hell? And then when she arrives back in the real world, she goes, oh my God, like it's all Wanda. Like Wanda's controlling it all. And then we actually get confirmation from Wanda herself because she's talking to Vision and she goes, what did she say? She's like,
you have to leave.
I've got everything under control.
Everything under control. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, is she the villain? Like, Jesus. I feel like maybe that's where they're going with
it. It made Wanda genuinely scary. Like, those, like, you know what? Now we're into the last 5 minutes of the episode. But hold on. When you see Vision without the Infinity Stone in his head, that genuinely...
shit out of me.
Exactly. I was like, what?
Scared me.
What's just happened?
It was hella jarring. It was so jarring because, you know, he's like desaturated and he's got a big hole in his head and you're thinking, what? Like... That bit was crazy, but it was like, it wasn't scary because it was like terrifying. It was just scary because it was like, where has this come from?
Yeah, because it was just a quick cut, wasn't it? It was just like, what you see Wanda, and then Vision just talked, snappy. And it's like, oh man, it's not.
It was unsettling. But again, I feel like that leads into my theory of saying, like I said in the last review, like I think maybe everyone there is dead because in the very beginning of the episode. First of all, can we just say the episode focuses a lot more on the character of Geraldine. So you spend more time with her and Sword. And I felt like the introduction of Sword was really poorly done, I'd say.
How come?
Because, you know, I think they just sort of went with it and they were like, oh yeah, by the way, Sword exists in the MCU and they've always been here. And it was like, oh, okay. You know, like there was no real thing to it. Like we still, for example, me, I don't really know who Sword is in the comics. I only know what I've like quickly Googled. And based off what we saw, we still don't really know anything. We know there was like a little hint in there that they deal with outer space things. Because he was like, oh, you're grounded. You've only got terrestrial missions.
Yeah.
But again, that only meant something to me because I've looked into Sword and I know that they are basically S.H.I.E.L.D. but for outer space. So I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a little bit weird that they used Sword instead of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know obviously in the MCU, S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't as big as it was. So I feel like maybe they're just trying to
they're just working with, I think they're just working with what they've done in the MCU. Like if they hadn't have already destroyed S.H.I.E.L.D. in the films, it probably would have been S.H.I.E.L.D. But because they have, they're like, right, we need another corporation.
It just felt a little off to me. Like I felt like There was no real like, this is Sword, because which I didn't hate, because I was kind of like, okay, cool, like it's a well-established thing. She, the main character today, Geraldine, she works there and she's like been there all her life. Her mum was a director, so it kind of makes sense that you know, to her it's not a big deal, but I feel like to the viewer it is. So, and as well, that was another thing that I noticed was like when she goes and meets Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo's in this episode, and that was cool. He provides the sort of light-hearted comedic tone, and another character that we'll talk about quickly as well. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah. So Sword, I just wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest. I just thought, oh, and yeah, when she meets Jimmy Woo, she goes in and she's like, oh yeah, I'm from Sword. Like no, like hiding it or nothing, and he just accepts that. He's like, oh yeah, cool. I was like, bro, who the fuck is Sword? How do you know who that is?
I kind of on a different side to you. So I kind of like that they did that. Because I was kind of just like, they were like, we're just doing our story. We're not having a filler episode where we're going to explain what Sword is. We're just going to get on with it and keep going on our trajectory. I feel like Sword will probably get explained more at a later date. But I like the fact it was just.
I felt like this was a complete filler episode.
Oh god, yeah, it's 100% a filler episode, but it needed to be. It needed to be. There were so many questions that they had to at least try and answer them.
I guess.
And they did. I really enjoyed how that. I really. Could I just make one quick thing?
To be fair, I did like that. But yeah, go on.
I would say this is a completely random tangent, and I have no idea if it is genuinely what it was, right? But you know the bit where Wanda basically yeets Geraldine out of her world at the end of the episode?
That shit was scary.
That genuinely looked like, to me, a flashback to Winter Soldier. You know, when Bucky just smashes Captain America through like those 6 flights of walls when they're having that fight.
Oh, okay.
It's exactly it looked exactly the same. I don't know why I remembered it, but I was like, that looks.
And you feel like, what is that? You feel like that's like got some sort of relevancy, or
oh god, no! It was just like cool. I thought it might be like an Easter egg. I was just like that they've done the same shot.
Captain America in Wanda's world.
No, I just genuinely I saw that and I was like, I quite like that. I don't know if it was, but I was like, for me at least, it was an Easter egg.
It looked really brutal as well. Like she literally smashed her through like 4 walls or something, and then like out of this world, and it was like, wow, Wanda's scary, man. Like Wanda is scary though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like that, I kind of liked at the end of the episode where they confirm they're like, it is Wanda that is doing this, and I feel like doing that really gives it a whole new spin, because I don't like. The only problem with that is I feel like now we won't go back to the sitcom.
Possibly. I feel like they will for one episode. It won't be as heavy. Yeah, it won't be as heavy, definitely, but I think they will, because they've got to show that Wanda's still in control of at least one episode. Well, so I think there will be.
Didn't we see in the trailer for Wandavision that her and Vision try and leave? Don't they try and go on holiday or something?
I think so, yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. So, and like, you know, Wanda's obviously aware of what she's doing, and she knows as well. She knows, like, I feel like today's episode was confirming like Wanda's quite sinister, because she knows that Vision is dead in reality, you know, like she knows that he's gone.
Right, now you've brought this up,
because of this
today confirmed she controls Vision, because Vision was like, oh yeah, we can go and get away, and then she goes, oh no, I've got everything under control, and then you see Vision snap from a sad face to an immediate smile as they go to sit down at the end of the episode. It's like instantaneous. Like, it just proves that Vision is dead because Wanda's controlling her.
Oh man, I really didn't want Vision to be dead. I really wanted him to come back.
I love Vision.
I
don't know why.
Even before we had the show, I actually really liked the Vision character. I thought he was really cool. But yeah, I guess he is just dead. But I still do think that there must be some other villain.
Yeah, there's one reason. There's one reason I think this, right? They were saying that somebody's censoring the broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. But I took that to mean that it was Wanda, because Wanda's.
It could be, but I have a feeling like, how can Wanda control stuff that's outside of her, like, world? Was my thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thinking, because like they had the TV outside of it, so I was like, it probably is Wanda, but I was like, there's the potential it's somebody else.
There's rumors going around that this is going to introduce the next big MCU villain, and that villain is Mephisto. I don't know much about Mephisto, so I'll go and look into him later. But
I heard rumors it was Galactus.
The rumors of that. I mean, I'd like to see Galactus because the only time I've seen Galactus in a movie is that god awful Fantastic Four movie, but we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
we don't talk about that one. But nah, I'd say the episode was okay. What I liked that they really explain every weird little thing that happens, and it's cool because something I didn't realize is when you pass through. So there's like a barrier. It looks like it's made of like digital cubes.
An energy, don't they call it like an energy field?
Yeah, some sciencey bullshit. But when you pass through it, it changes. It changes your appearance. So that beekeeper that me and Finton were like really caught up on when in episode 2, we were like, who the hell is this beekeeper? It's not a beekeeper. It's a guy that's gone in through the sewers, and he was wearing a hazmat suit. And then as you go through the barrier, it changed him into something more, I guess, appropriate for the time period.
Yeah. The funniest, the one I like the most about this is when they send in the drone, and the drone gets turned into the toy helicopter.
Yeah.
I love that. I was like, that is just
yeah.
That made me laugh so much.
Because when she pulled the drone out, I was like, there's no way they've made a mistake that big, because like obviously it's the drone, but you're like, that looks completely different. And then you get the explanation later on, and it's like, it changes when it goes through. Okay. One thing that I didn't get though, again, another thing that I felt like maybe was a bit unclear, and the reason I'm being so harsh on this episode is because there's very little Wanda and Vision, and it's called Wandavision. And I felt like there was a lot of like exposition, but it was all really vague exposition. And I'm like, if you're gonna be exposition, or give me juicy bits of, like information to digest. And yeah, I couldn't understand whether when you go in, if you keep your memories or not, because people within that simulation seem to be aware of what's going on. And then when Geraldine went in, she seemed to have like lost her memory and things, but then she got sent back out, and it was like, it's all Wanda.
I had a question, right? You know how, Rose, we haven't got into this yet, but Westview isn't a real place. So to everybody that's not in that energy field sphere, it's Eastview. Like the real place is Eastview. But how the hell are cops coming out of there? You know, at the start, when Geraldine appears with Agent Wu, there are cops waiting outside of Westview. How have they got there? Unless they've driven the same way as they have. But like, it looks like they've come out of Westview, but I'm like, they can't have done, because there's an energy field.
Well, I think Eastview, I feel like they said something that hinted that Eastview wasn't in that area. But bro, at the same time, those cops might be projections of Wanda.
Yeah, that's true.
They might be there because Wanda is, doing border patrol with her. We just don't know, because the thing is now that we know they is Wanda, and now that it's basically been confirmed that she's like raised Vision from the dead. What the fuck are the limits to her power? Like, she can do anything. She might have that whole town under some sort of control. She could send people outside. She can do what she wants. Like, it's they've really opened up a whole, new
I do have to say,
with her.
I think it was on one of the episodes, the Marvel episode of the podcast came out last week. I was saying like that Captain Marvel and that were like they were underpowered compared to what they could be in the comics. But seeing what Wanda can do now, I'm like, they're finally showing how powerful one of these heroes can actually be. And I'm like, I love this.
Yeah, man. The only problem with it is that now we know she's capable of all this, and we know she's probably going to end up good again. And when we see her in movies, it's like, are you going to stick to that faithful vision of how powerful she is, or are you going to tone it back again?
Yeah. I think they might go down like a House of M route, where she goes kind of insane for a bit. Like, not exactly House of M, because House of M is based around X-Men, and there are no X-Men in Wandavision. But as in, like, Vision dies, she goes, yeah, true. But like, she goes kind of nuts, and then ends up being bad for a bit. I'm assuming there'll be a fight between her and Sword at some point. And then she eventually comes, like, she goes back to being good. But I feel like there is the potential that Wanda could actually be a very big villain in this show.
I mean, I can't watch it the same now because I know that she's controlling everything. But like I say, I still think there's something sinister going on that isn't on her part. That
Oh yeah,
because we know Wanda's not like an evil character, so she's obviously just trying to deal with her grief of like losing Vision. So maybe she's also being manipulated by an external force. We just don't know yet. But I'm hoping next episode there's a bit more, because I felt like this is what annoyed me the most about today's episode, and that's why I've been hard on it, is we didn't really move anything along story-wise. The story was like pretty stagnant because it focuses on what's happened from episode 1 to episode 3, and we don't really go beyond that, apart from literally the last bit of dialogue where Geraldine goes, "It's all Wanda," and like we get the confirmation it's Wanda controlling it, which is quite a big thing, but nothing else really happens because everything else we've seen already, just not from Sword's perspective.
yeah.
So I don't know. It just felt a bit meh to me.
I think the one massive, well, I wouldn't say massive at all, but the biggest issue I had with this episode is, I don't know if this happened to you or it was just because I woke up and went straight into watching the episode and wasn't fully awake, but it took me a while to get that all of this was set before the start of episode 1 and 2, and that, like, I assumed that, you know, where you see Geraldine at the hospital right at the start, I assumed that was her after she'd been thrown out, and that was her recovering because she was like knocked out. It took me a while to realize that was her coming back from the blip, and that it was all happening from that.
I got that straight away, but in all fairness, I woke up at 8 and then snoozed my alarm and then got back up at 10 and sorry, not 10, but 10 past 8 and
I was gonna say
and
10,
watched the episode. You know what I mean? Yeah, 10. I'll watch it in the future. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, nah. So I didn't have that, and as well like that reforming of people. Like I thought, oh, okay, it's the snap. You know, so I got that straight away that it was the snap. But I get what you're saying, because based off of the ending of last episode, you could think that, I guess, but
yeah.
No,
Oh no, I worked it out
it
when you see people coming back to life, like when you see them all reforming. Like I said, that's when I worked it out.
Yeah.
But like when she's in the hospital, I just assumed that was her coming out after everything that had happened, and then I worked out, oh, okay, it's actually before. But one of the things I want to bring up is I have no idea what it means.
Exactly. So yeah, the episode.
I have no idea what it means, but like, there's, the way they end episode 1 with the pan back to see the person watching it, but that's not Sword. That happens in this episode again. That exact scene is back in.
Yeah. Oh, did you not get who that was? That's the character I was happy that they included. It's Darcy.
No, it's not.
Or whatever her name is. I think it's Darcy from the 4 movies. It is.
You see Darcy though. You actually see her. You see her face. You see where she's got the TV positioned. This is a TV in a dark room. It's not Darcy. It's somebody else, which is why I think there's somebody else. Because it's in a dark room. It's just a TV. No, it's definitely not. Because when you see her looking at the TV, she's got all the computers and stuff and all of the Sword information around it while she's watching it. Whereas this person, it is just a black screen. Like it's a black outline, then the TV, and then the person that's sitting like a little bit behind the TV in the shot. That's it.
I genuinely didn't. I paid that note. I really just thought that was Darcy. But yeah, that's crazy then. Okay, so yeah, there you go. There must be somebody else that is monitoring the situation, and that is probably who's censoring certain parts of it and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what.
So yeah, there you go. So there probably is, that person is probably villain number, like big bad, and then you've got Wanda who's being manipulated. Because I don't want to believe Wanda's evil, man. I like Wanda. She's a cool character. I don't want to go bad. But yeah, should we rate the episode, or do you have anything more you want to add?
No, I think that was everything for once. I actually got through everything I wrote down whilst watching it.
Yeah. So what are you rating it?
Oh, I think I might go with 7, because it's definitely a filler episode, but I feel like it needed to be. Like, I genuinely enjoyed the fact I was getting answers. Like that was kind of what I wanted at this point. I was like, don't carry on, give me answers, otherwise I'll forget what my questions were.
True, I know what you mean. Man, I was gonna give it a 6, but I feel like 6 is like really harsh.
Yes, I was like 6 or 7, but 6 seems a bit low because it really wasn't that bad.
You know what I
It was
mean?
just,
I,
it was all right.
I'll say 7. I'm gonna say 7. I feel like it was still a good episode. Like for example, the acting was really good, and I do like the fact that they took a risk and you know, followed Geraldine the whole time, basically, which was kind of cool, and made it more about her in this episode and introduced Sword and answered some questions. But I feel like that last reveal where they say, "Oh, Wanda's controlling everything." They wanted that to like hit, and it just didn't quite do it for me because I already kind of guessed that.
That's what I was gonna say. Is we
and I
already
felt like when they said that, I just sort of went, yeah. Instead of me going, "Wow," I was like,
cool.
you know, like I gathered this already.
Yeah.
And that's why it didn't really hit home for me. But I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. 6 is too low, definitely.
Yeah. I was like, no, 6. Genuinely 6 would be too low.
Yeah, for real though, for real. But yeah, I think that's all. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Right. If you haven't watched any of the other episodes of the reviews of this, I will put them in the eye up there, you know, so you can go watch them because I'm a nice person like that. Puts more time into me editing. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us what you thought down below. And we will see you.
Right. We'll see you all next
week.
time.
All right. See ya.